On the orange to blue belt test, we have our striking set. Now, this is the most basic striking defenses that we do, and it defends against an overhead attack, a hooking punch, a straight punch, and a front snap kick. And we're going to do the most basic ones, and then I'm going to show you a few advancement on these. These use our basic blocking techniques. So, when you think about the difference between blocking and evading, or blocking and parrying, that comes into play when you're dealing with strikes. For instance, forward stance with a down block. If he comes with an overhead attack, meaning he's either going to be striking to my head, my nose, maybe my clavicle, but he's coming with his right hand. It's this overhead smash attack. I can either evade it, which means get out of the range, or I could try to parry it, passing it by, or I can block it. Now, the block means that I actually stop the energy of the attack, and ultimately I have to absorb it in some way. So blocking actually tends to be the most hard on you because you're actually absorbing some of the hit, but it's sometimes the easiest thing to do because when it comes to an evasion, you have to make sure you have the timing right, or when it comes to a parrying, this really involves good timing because you have to time the technique to be able to parry it. But when it comes to blocking, it simply is a matter of just putting something in the way, just jamming it, if you will. And the closer I can get to him, the better I am in that regard, because the more time his hand has to go, and the closer I am to me, the more chance that's going to smash into me. So what I want to do is I want to be able, as he comes in, I want to catch it out here. I want to be able to be on the first end of the attack, not on the final end. Because as he's going for the attack, this is where he's weak. If he's all the way out to here, that's where he's strong. So I want to be actually what we might call crashing into his attack. Attacking the attack, if you will. So as he's coming in, that's my number one. And I can return simply with a reverse punch. Now, I like to do that both at the same time. So, one and done. So, come up a little closer so we're back in frame. Forward stance or down block. As he comes in, it's block, hit at the same time. Now, I can also do this like this, and that looks a lot like Pinan Yondan. So, as he comes in, here and here, I am able to strike up here. So, it's either one or one. And either way, I want my strike and my defense to both be happening basically at the same time. Now, for more advanced students, if you want to add something, you can add a lot to this. So forward stance with a down block. We're going to go through this slowly because this is painful. As he's coming over top and I block here and strike, I then bring my arm up and I chamber into his arm and I trap his arm here. That's really hard to do because most likely as soon as I block, he's going to be recoiling that arm. But if he's really coming in hard, boom, and I can get a hold here, I can grab this arm, come forward, and then I have his arm locked with what we call a shoulder lock. So that's an advancement on the overhead attack. The next one would be a hooking punch. So as he's coming into hooking punch, he's either going to be hooking punch here or he's going to be hooking punch to my body. This is what we would call the haymaker. Somebody is reaching out and punching. Generally, if somebody's reaching way out here and punching, they're not doing it to not hurt you. They're doing it to hurt you because they're reaching way back to hit you. And so this punch is coming in strong and it's coming in hard. And so we're going to use one of the blocks that we do in class. We're going to use our outside two-bone block. So as he's coming in, I bring my arm up nice and hard and I use my reverse punch. Now I'm going to do it on the other side so the camera can see better. As he's coming in, it's 1, 2, but it's actually all at the same time. It's 1, 2, same time. So that's an outside two-bone block. Now, if you're a lot smaller than your attacker, he's a lot bigger than you, then you might want to use the double forearm block for a hooking punch. So come a little closer. Forward stance. As he's coming with that punch, I use both hands. But you see the problem with this. If I use both hands to block, he's got another hand to hit me with. So what we like to do is when we block is also create a pass or a parry. So as he's coming in here, it's pass. If he throws the other hand, pass. Throwing the other hand, pass. Don't just block and say, look, I'm proud of myself. Oh, now I'm knocked out. No, it's pass, and then I have the ability to fight back. So that's how to deal with a hooking punch, either with your outside two bone block or with a double forearm block, using the strong back part of your arm, not the soft front part of the arm, but the strong muscle side of your arm to do your blocking. Now, what if it's a straight punch? Forward stance or down block. If he comes straight to my nose, just like that, or if he did it with his front hand, forward stance or down block again, just bring your hands up, front punch, boom, that's fast. And that's going to be right up my nose before I even see it coming if I'm not paying attention. This is why I should never stand with my hands down if I think a person is a threat. If a person comes up to talk to me and I don't know who they are, I always have my hands up. Excuse me, sir, I don't want to have any trouble. What can I do for you? Or maybe in the culture of social distancing, excuse me, sir, don't come any closer and don't cough. So as he's got his hands up, if he did throw a punch, I have my hand up to immediately respond. If his other hand punches, I have my hand up. And we have a drill that we do for this called Sinawali. So our hands are up here. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what that drill teaches me is it teaches me the art of parrying. You really can't block a straight punch. You have to redirect a straight punch. The only way to block it would be to stop it. Stopping it is very hard. So if his hands are up and he goes to punch me with that hand, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a nice little drill that you can do getting used to moving. But remember, it's not just about stopping the attack. You have to counterattack. So as the hand comes out, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just like that. You've got to be able to mount your counteroffensive. So there is your basic hooking punch block and your straight punch block. We also did the overhead attack. Lastly is a front snap kick. So if he's got his hands up and I see him getting room, he's going to be using his legs. There's a few things I can do. One, I need to maintain a good distance. This is where evading comes in. Remember, we can block, we can parry, or we can evade. Best way to deal with a kick is to not get kicked. As Mr. Miyagi said, best way to avoid punch, no be there. Best way to avoid kick, don't be in the way. So one of the first things we teach people to do is learn about timing. So one thing that you can do at home is put yourself in a fighting stance. As he goes to kick, move backward. And then you come in and kick and let him move backward. So he comes in and then I come in, just like this. And we're basically just going back and forth. And you can do that with a series of kicks. For instance, roundhouse kicks. So as I come in, 1, and then he's going to move back and then he's going to come in. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. And that's just a drill to help me learn timing with my kicks. You can block a kick, but sometimes you're taking the chance of hurting yourself. I've seen a lot of people get arm injuries, and particularly wrist injuries. If a roundhouse kick is coming in and you put your hands out to block a roundhouse kick like this, it can actually fold your hands back, injure your wrist. Now you can't defend yourself anymore. Best way to deal with a kick is to learn to get out of the way. So that little drill you can use to move back and forth with your kicks. So those are our kicking drills, the most basic ones we have for our striking drills. Overhead attack, straight punch, hooking punch, and basic kicks.